Here they are. Let's talk about Iran. Your assessment, do you think we're on a collision course, we being the United States, with that country?
I think it was the worst deal I've ever seen negotiated. I think it was a deal that should have never been negotiated. Absolutely, the deal that was made by the Obama administration. I think it's a shame that we've had a deal like that and that we had to sign a deal like that, and there was no reason to do it. And if you're going to do it, have a good deal. Secretary Kerry, who was negotiating it, never once left the table. We have the worst of everything. We've already given them billions and billions, probably $150 billion. We gave them $1.7 billion in cash, which is unheard of. And we put the money up, and we have really nothing to show for it.
Possible you tear it up?
We'll see what happens. I mean, we're going to see what happens. I can say this. They have total disregard for our country. They are the #1 terrorist state. They're sending money all over the place and weapons, and can't do that.
Sanctions, that's how you're going to start with them.
Just started.
But you're going to move in a carrier, right?
Well, we just started with sanctions. I never talk about military moves. I always criticize President Obama where they'd have an announcement that they're going into Mosul or they're going to someplace, and they'd give the name, the date, the time. I don't believe in that. Let's see what happens, but I don't like to talk about what we do militarily.
So you're not real bullish on Iran at this point?
No, I'm not bullish. It's like they're emboldened. Where they follow our planes, they circle our ships with their little boats, and they scream things at us. What's happened is not good. You would have thought that with the deal they made, which was a great deal for them and a horrible deal for us, they would have had a warmth toward our country, and it's exactly the opposite. They lost respect because they can't believe anybody could be so stupid as to make a deal like that.
Let's talk about Mexico. There was a report, you talked to President Nieto, and you told him, this was the report, I want to know if this is true or not, that if his army couldn't handle the drug cartels, that U.S. Army soldiers would. Did you say that? We have to do something about the cartels. I did talk to him about it. I want to help him with it. I think he's a very good man. We have a very good relationship, as you probably know. We're going to have a wall. We're going to have a border. We've got to stop drugs from coming into our country. And if he can't handle it, and maybe they can and maybe they can't, or maybe he needs help, he seemed very willing to get help from us because he has got a problem. Got a problem.
And it's a real problem for us.
So President Nieto of Mexico was open to the possibility of U.S. forces, all right, helping him combat the drug cartels.
I would rather, as a very nice man that he is and somebody I respect, I'd rather have him respond to that. But I will tell you, I certainly offered him help on knocking out the drug cartels because we have got a problem. Don't forget, those cartels are operating in our country, and they're poisoning the youth of our country. And by the way, countries all over the world, just so you understand. This is a cartel all over the world, the cartels. But I certainly would help him if he needed the help.
At this point, do you consider Mexico a corrupt country? Because this stuff has been going on for decades. Is Mexico corrupt?
Well, it's a country that's got difficulty. It certainly has done well with us. We have a trade deficit with Mexico of $60 billion a year. That doesn't include drugs, and it doesn't include the border and all of the things that are happening on the border. But it's a country that I have great respect for the people. I love the people. I really like this administration. I think he's a good man. We get along very well. But they have problems controlling aspects of their country. There's no question about it. And I would say the drugs and the drug cartels, #1.
Have you figured out what kind of a tariff you're going to levy on Mexico to pay for the wall?
Well, we might not have to do that. They want to negotiate a deal. I want to negotiate a deal. We'll see what happens. But we can always do a tariff or a tax if necessary, and we'll do that if necessary. But if we can make a deal, a reassignment of NAFTA, but I'm going to put another F in the name NAFTA, because right now it's free trade, and I'm going to have it fair trade also, because it's not fair.
All right, so
we're losing $60 billion a year in trade deficits with Mexico. Can't do that.
You talked to Putin last week. You had a busy week last week.
A pretty busy week, yeah. Busy week and a half.
But within 24 hours of you on the phone with the Russian leader, the pro-Russian forces step up the violence in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Did you take that as an insult?
No, I didn't, because we don't really know exactly what that is. They're pro-forces. We don't know, are they uncontrollable? Are they uncontrolled? That happens also. We're going to find out. I would be surprised, but we'll see. Now,
do you respect Putin?
I do respect him.
Do you? Why?
Well, I respect a lot of people, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get along with him. He's a leader of his country. I say it's better to get along with Russia than not. Will I get along with him? I have no idea. It's very
He's a
possible
killer,
I
though.
won't.
Putin's a killer.
A lot of killers. We got a lot of killers. Why, you think our country's so innocent? Do you think our country's so innocent?
I don't know of any government leaders that are killers in America.
Well, take a look at what we've done, too. We've made a lot of mistakes. I've been against the war in Iraq from the beginning.
Yeah, mistakes are different than...
A lot of mistakes, okay, but a lot of people were killed. So a lot of killers around, believe me.
You mentioned ISIS. Can we expect, we the American people, more U.S. military action against ISIS?
You know, I hate to be evasive, but I
you
don't
have to tell
like
me specifically,
talking about it.
just
I don't
in
like
general.
talking about it. I can say this. ISIS is bad. They're evil. They cut off heads of Christians and Muslims and anybody else that gets in their way. They drown people in steel cages. This is like not since the medieval times has anything happened like this. And the previous administration allowed it to happen because we shouldn't have been in Iraq, but we shouldn't have gotten out the way we got out.
Right.
It created a vacuum. ISIS was formed. I always said take the oil. If you would have taken the oil, there would be no ISIS because they use that to fuel
But
their growth.
if you took the oil, the Iraqi oil, you would have to put in U.S. troops to do that, and then that would have started another round.
And you would have made a lot
it.
of money with the oil, and you would have had assets, and to the victor belong the spoils, and all of that. But forget that.
Okay, let's turn to domestic policy. When can Americans expect tax cuts? This year?
Yeah, we're working very much right now on the health care package, which I think it's moving along very well. We're trying to get our person, Dr. Tom Price, approved. As you know, the Democrats are being, for purely political reasons, it's terrible.
But let me get you on the record here. 2017, can Americans expect a tax cut?
I think so, yes, and I think before the end of the year, I would like to say yes.
Okay. Can Americans in 2017 expect a new health care plan rolled out by the Trump administration this year?
Yeah, in the process, and maybe it'll take till sometime into next year, but we are certainly going to be in the process. Very complicated. Obamacare is a disaster. You have to remember, Obamacare doesn't work. You look at Arizona, 116% increase. You look at Minnesota, all of these places, it's going through the roof.
Yeah, it's done.
It doesn't work. Well,
right.
wait.
But when are you going to have something ready?
And we're going to be putting it in fairly soon. I think that, yes, I would like to say by the end of the year, at least the rudiments, but we should have something within the year and the following year.
Now, this is
and by the way, we will have something that's good, less expensive, and really great health care.
Next on the Rundown, part 2 of the Trump interview, we focus on immigration, Kate's Law, and Mr. Trump's relationship with President Obama. Coming right back.
Whether it's bringing cutting-edge Wi-Fi to 35,000 fans or keeping a hotel's guests connected, businesses count on communication, and communication counts on CenturyLink. CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
At Safelite, we know how busy your life can be.
Oh, no.
This mom didn't have time to worry about a cracked windshield, so she scheduled at Safelite.com. And with Safelite's exclusive On My Way text, she knew exactly when I'd be there, so she didn't miss a single shot. I replaced her windshield, giving her more time for what matters most. How'd you do?
We won.
Nice. That's another Safelite advantage.
So much.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
In a crisis, your number one need is food, but not just any food. Experts say everyone needs to have non-perishable, good for 25 years survival food on hand in case of an emergency. Well, right now, in what is truly an unprecedented move, 72-hour survival food kits are being given away to viewers while supplies last. Survival food is more important than ever before. Natural disasters, terrorist attacks, and other threats can make getting food impossible in an emergency. This 72-hour food kit has 16 servings of delicious food ready for 25 years of storage. It sells to the general public for $27 plus shipping, and it's rated 4.5 out of 5 stars by customers who paid full price. But viewers who act quickly can get it free. Just cover $9.95 in shipping. Supplies are limited. The program may end at any time.
Go to GetFreeFoodFox.com. That's GetFreeFoodFox.com. For your free kit, go to GetFreeFoodFox.com.
Guys, this Valentine's Day, size really does matter. So if you want to score big points with your Valentine, go big with the big hunk of love bear from Vermont Teddy Bear. He's big. He's 4 feet tall. He's soft. Let's face it, no girl can resist a teddy bear that's this adorable. The big hunk of love bear from Vermont Teddy Bear is no ordinary Valentine's present. It shows that you were thinking only of her in a big way. Think about it. Who wants to spend a lot of money on flowers that will die in days? Chocolates taste good for a few seconds, but then she's going to ask if she looks fat. Vermont Teddy Bear has been making great Valentine's Day gifts for over 30 years, and every bear is guaranteed for life. They do it right every time. So, here's what you do. Go to VermontTeddyBear.com or call now and order your Valentine, the giant big hunk of love bear, for this special limited time offer of only $99. Your gift is guaranteed to be delivered in time for Valentine's Day. It's a great gift for her, but it's sure to pay off for you.
What if instead of waiting weeks for your tax refund, you could get an advance on that refund?
An advance on my tax refund?
Doesn't take brains to see the value in that.
You could get a refund advance of up to $1,250, no interest at Block.
Get your taxes won.
Continuing now with our lead story, an interview with President Trump at the White House last Friday stated the talk is making headlines all over the world. Here's part 2.
Now, this is a fascinating story. I just spent the week in California. As you know, they are now voting on whether they should become a sanctuary state. So the state of California, led by Governor Jerry Brown, is defying you, is absolutely defying the President of the United States. So California and the USA are on a collision course. How do you see it?
Well, I think it's ridiculous. Sanctuary cities, as you know, I'm very much opposed to sanctuary cities. They breed crime. There's a lot of problems. Right. You do it very well with Kate. And all of the other people you talk about on the show that I watch, I will tell you that sanctuary cities they got a lot of problems, and there's tremendous crime. A lot of people agree with me. This was a campaign issue. This isn't just brought up now. California in many ways is out of control, as you know. And from a economic standpoint, people are leaving California, going to Texas and other places that run in a different manner. But we'll see what happens. We will certainly not stand for sanctuary, even cities, let alone states.
You mentioned Kate's Law. Why do you think the Democratic Party opposes Kate's Law? It seems so logical.
Yeah, it's so logical. There are many things that are very logical. Tax cuts are logical, but the Democrats want to raise taxes instead of lowering taxes.
But you didn't answer my question. Why do the Democrats oppose protecting Americans from violent foreign criminals?
Because they think that's their voter.
You know what was fascinating? To watch you at the inauguration with Barack Obama. You guys seem to get along. All right? Would that be accurate?
It's a very strange phenomenon. We get along. I don't know if he'll admit this, but he likes me.
How do you know he likes you?
I like him because I can feel it. You know, that's what I do in life. It's called, I understand. Now, we had a rough campaign. He was fighting better for Hillary than she did. He was vicious during the campaign toward me, and I was vicious toward him. We said horrible things about each other. And then we hop into the car, and we drive down Pennsylvania Avenue together. We don't even talk about it. Politics is amazing.
What did you talk about?
We talked about the country. We talked about the future of the country. I asked him about what do you think our biggest problem is, and he told me, I can't tell you, but it's a problem. It's a military problem with a certain place. No, it's not China, actually. No, it's not. But it is, he did mention, because I did ask him, I said, what would you say the number 1, 2, and 3 problems are? And the number 1 problem that he felt, I was a little bit surprised, but I fully understand.
But you can't tell us?
I can't do that. I can't do that. Not for any other reason other than I don't think he'd mind if I said it. I don't want to let that particular place know that that's the way he or I feel. But we had a great It was a great inauguration. I loved every minute of it, and I got along with him. In fact, people were sort of surprised. I finished. I turned around. He was smiling. I was smiling.
Fascinating.
He was saying hello.
But here's what was more fascinating. Right after you guys embraced, shook hands, all of that, you gave a speech. But your speech excoriated him. You basically took his administration apart, and he's sitting 5 feet away from you. In your mind, did you say, how is he reacting to this speech?
See, I'm an honest person. The country has very, very deep-seated problems. We have to do something about it. And if you noticed, when I finished my speech, I turned around, shook his hand.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And he was very gracious and smiling.
I don't know if he was happy with that speech.
I don't know, but he seemed to be. But this isn't just a knock on him. We've been going down the wrong path for many years beyond him.
Now, tomorrow I asked the president some personal questions about his White House experience so far. I think you'll find it interesting. Directly ahead, Charles Krauthammer will react to that interview. Then later, the Factor has been looking into the judge that blocked Mr. Trump's refugee order. Those reports after these messages.